Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. Please turn off your cell phones until after Jumah, please, or at least silence them. Thank you.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الله أكبر الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
لا إله إلا الله
Now.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين وصلاة الله وسلامه ورحمته وبركاته على صفوة الخلق سيدنا محمد وعلى أهله طاهرين وعلى أصحابه أجمعين ورحمة الله ومغفرته على تابعين وتابعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين والسلام على إمام ورث الدين والسلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ تأذن ربكم لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم ولئن كفرتم إن عذابي لشديد. We seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan the accursed. We bear witness that there is none worthy of worship or praise except Allah, the Master, the control of all systems of knowledge. We begin, and we do so after seeking refuge in Allah from Shaitan the accursed. We declare that all praise is due to Allah, the Master, the control of all systems of knowledge. We praise Him, and we humbly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish the prayers, the peace, the mercy, and the blessings upon His noble messenger Muhammad, the choice of His creation, the seal of the prophets and messengers. And we ask that the same prayers, peace, mercy, and blessings be established upon all of His family members who followed Him in purification. And we humbly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish the same prayers, peace, mercy, and blessings upon all of His companions together. We ask the forgiveness of Allah and mercy upon the followers and their followers in goodness to the day of judgment. And we humbly ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to establish peace and have mercy on the soul of Imam Dr. Walid Muhammad, who we saw with our own eyes. And we ask Allah establishes peace amongst ourselves, no matter where we may be and no matter where we may be from. And to all of that, we say Ameen. I openly bear witness there is absolutely none worthy of worship or praise except Allah, who is unique without any associate whatsoever. And I bear witness that Muhammad is His servant and messenger. Allah calls our attention in the Quran, and He reminds, and when your Lord proclaimed, if you show gratitude to me, I will give you more. But if you are ungrateful for what I give you, verily my punishment is indeed severe. It is with great honor, humility, and appreciation that I stand before you today in this blessed place during this blessed time in front of this most honorable and blessed congregation. So we praise Allah, we thank Him, and we hope and pray Allah that all of you are well. And we ask Allah at this time to aid us to get the most out of this very little time that we do have together. And to that we say Ameen. Our topic today, inshallah ta'ala, which I think is a very good topic, is the excellence of being grateful, building, and investing in community life. Such a timely subject, such a timely theme. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge the 138 countries around the world live streaming this particular Jumah. And on behalf of all of the brothers and sisters who are listening from American Muslim 360, who can't make it out of their homes, who find great pleasure in being able to hear a khutbah in their homes because they're not able to get to the masjid. We are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we've allowed the use of technology to advance our ibadah. So we say alhamdulillah for that. So on behalf of Masjid Muhammad, the nation's mosque of Washington, D.C., we want to extend on behalf of Imam Talib Sharif and the community here, his wonderful staff, an extended greeting to all of those listening and all of those live streaming of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now, I also want to just, before I begin, before we talk about our topic, because we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to get right to it, inshallah ta'ala. I see a lot of you here that I haven't seen in a while. A lot of you here I've seen, and we know each other from other places. So I'm grateful to Allah. I'm so grateful, and I'm humbled to have been invited here. The thing I want to start with is I want to just talk a little bit to our seasoned members, our pioneers, our historians who have in their possession our narrative. I want to tell you, dear brothers and sisters, that I'm going to give you just a small report on your investment. What do I mean, your investment? Well, it was you who invested in this community so many years ago, when there was no me, when there was no younger generation that we have now, before a lot of us was born. But you invested and took a chance at a thing that wasn't greeted with a lot of friendly and kindliness. You took a chance on something that you didn't know how it was going to turn out. You didn't know how it was going to turn out because of the climate for people like us at that time. It was a tough assignment, but you took it on. And you wore that uniform with dignity. And then in 1975, when Imam Muhammad came in, you accepted the call and you haven't looked back. So we want to thank all of you for the sacrifices that you made, because you have the true narrative on what being a Muslim is about in the United States. You have the true narrative and the indictment against those who think Islam is a religion of terror. When you've been here all this time and you've been practicing Islam and you've been the most peacefulest, helpful person that you could ever find, and there's so many others like you. In fact, when we first came in, we were like over 1.2 million here in the United States, African Americans. And to date, they're not connected with any activities other than spreading Islam. And from them came countless generations, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and now you see great-great-great-grandchildren. So I want to say to you, dear Obalalian, that we appreciate you, and that your appreciation cannot be understated. Your work and what you did is unlike what anybody did under those circumstances. Most people would have gave up. So had it not been you, there would have been no us. Where would we be here had it not been no you? Had you not taken the licks first, had you not gone in and stood up in a time where many would not have come and stood up. So we thank Allah for you. We thank Allah for everything you did. There's a soft spot in my heart for you because I know where I would be had it not been for you. Because it was those same members that I met when I was 16 years old who invited me into the masjid and who encouraged me to continue studying this religion here in the United States. They refused to let me go somewhere else. No, you stay right here, brother, and you continue studying the religion. And they showed kindness and love. So here I'm giving you a report on the investment that you made in me by giving me what you had. We want to thank Allah for you. You deserve flowers all the time. Every time they see you, they should salute you because of what you did and the circumstance that you were under. We're so grateful to your old seasoned members. And for those live streaming, we want to say to all of you that if you are in the presence of some seasoned members somewhere, salute them because they came first. I studied you a little bit after 1975. I studied you a little bit. And I saw that every morning. I used to wonder why. How did they do it? You had no internet. You had a thing where you were spreading this message and it spread like a wildfire. And you were all over the United States. How did you do it without the internet, man? I'm going to have to talk to one of y'all when it's over with and find out. You get this secret. But it spread like wildfire. And although this was a social reform movement, had it not been, we would not have had Islam that we have today, had that movement not taken place. It took place in a time in which we were told that we were nobody. We were treated like we were not even human. So that social reform actually stood us up. And then Allah took us from there. But I used to wonder what was it that made you do the things that you did. And they said that you were instructed. I see 3 of you here, 4 or 5 of you here, alhamdulillah. But you were instructed when every morning you would face the east and you would say 2 ayats from the Quran. Before they even were making salat, before we even knew the salat, you were relying on 2 ayats from the Quran. And I thought this was so amazing. To have 2 ayats from the Quran and rely on that, because the other part of the Quran was closed and kept in a high place, am I right? And you would get up in the morning and face the east, and this is what you would say. Say, my prayers, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah. No associate has he, In this I have been commanded, and I am one of the first of those who submit. May Allah bless you, O seasoned members. You put dedication behind those 2 ayats, so I understand why it spread like a wildfire. Because you relied on the 2 ayats and you followed it, you were committed to it. So I thank Allah for you for that commitment, because I'm learning from that. I'm learning how to be committed. I'm learning how to be steadfast because of what you did. I don't think I would have had a better example on how to be steadfast and somebody committed in this society. But I want to tell you this also, dear seasoned members. Had we had the commitment, if we had the commitment that you had, imagine what we can do if we had that commitment for the entire Quran that you had for 2 ayats. Imagine what the Muslim world would be if they had the commitment that you had for 2 ayats with the entire Quran. See, Allah works in ways, and He's teaching us in ways in which we perceive not. Some people are in denial, but the fact of the matter is, it was a commitment. You believed in those ayats. Dear brothers and sisters, the example of those senior members, they believed in the Quran. They believed in the verses of the Quran in the way that we should be believing it. May Allah help us to that, we say Ameen. In closing on you, because we can do the whole khutbah on you, and I would be doing a disservice. And they say, well, brother, you're giving them too much credit. I don't think we're giving them enough. Not from what we had to go through here in this society. So we're going to lay off y'all right now, but I'm going to tell you this, that despite the fact that you were committed and you did all these things for the community, you have not been properly relieved of your duty. We still need you. We still need you to share with the younger generation and our immigrant brothers and sisters that's coming here. They need to talk to some of you brothers so that you can tell them how you did it during segregation, during Jim Crow, during all of those times during the Depression, during all of those times where the odds were against us. And you kept a smile on your face, and you look good. You look good now, too. May Allah bless you, O seasoned members. Ameen. Now, for our subject matter, our subject is dealing primarily with the subject of appreciation. I have 2 statements I want to read that I think serves us a little justice when we talk about this idea concerning gratefulness. Imam Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "La yaslaha akhi hadhihi al-umma illa aslaha awaluha." That the reformation of this ummah will never take place in this later time until we enact the methods of those who came in the earlier time. History. Imam Wafiddin Muhammad rahimahullah said, "Itabi al-mantaqa ila mutaqatiha mantaqiyya," and follow the logic to its logical conclusion. Now, logic in history is very important, especially when we're talking about the subject of being appreciative, being grateful. Did I tell you that I was grateful for the seasoned members? Some of you ain't that old either, man. Wait a minute, man. Who we got up here, right? When we look at this idea concerning applying this peaceful religion, we have to ultimately increase our faith by Allah's permission. So let us see if these 2 statements hold up. Following the logic, the reformation of this ummah, its application, and the way we should be thinking while looking at appreciation. Because we can easily say, I appreciate something, but do we really appreciate it? So Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullaha wa tanzur nafsun ma qaddamat ligad wa ittaqullaha inna Allaha khabirun bima ta'malun. He says, oh, you believe and you have true faith, be mindful of Allah and fear Him with a rational fear, and let every person, everybody, consider what they send forth for tomorrow. Consider what you put out. He says, let everyone consider what you put out today for tomorrow. What you leaving, man? What you spending your time on? So Allah is telling us that in this wonderful verse of the Quran. One of the most outstanding features of the Muslim is that he's appreciative. We know Thanksgiving was yesterday, and it was fine and everything. And don't get me wrong, we like Thanksgiving too. Muslims like Thanksgiving too. But Muslims know, based on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, that Thanksgiving is not the only day in which we're appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He's given us so much. Everybody else can have that concept, that's fine, but not so the Muslim. Why? Because after all, it was you who were given the Quran. Can't count for everybody else. But you got it, you sitting here. You was given the Quran, so you don't have no other recourse but to be appreciative to Allah. But how are we applying that appreciation? How are we actually applying that appreciation? It's just word of mouth, or there's some deeds that follow? Allah begins the verse, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. He doesn't call you by the noun. He doesn't say, Ya ayyuhal mu'minun. He says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. He calls you by what you do, meaning that it's not about what you're saying, man. It ain't about where you came from, man. It's about what you're doing. It's about what you do. When we talk about the two verses that the senior members would apply in their lives and applying this mission, it was about what they did. It wasn't about what they said. It was about what they did. They saw the mission, they conquered it, and they gave their youth. I'm sure none of you started out, with the long beard. I'm trying to grow mine now. Trying to grow it in, right? But it was about what you do. Everybody loves a do. I don't care what language you speak. Everybody, it's a comment, it's a fitra. That's part of fitra. To love a doer, to love somebody that's honest, to love somebody that tells the truth, to love somebody that's reliable. Imagine that. By the opposites, things become clear. You know for a fact you don't like nobody lying. You don't like a person that's unreliable. I ain't calling him no more. Right? You don't like somebody that you can't depend on. Everybody loves someone that you can rely on, someone that's helpful, someone that's there. Imam Talib called me. I said, well, when you call, I come running. Why? Because it's the same thing with him. It's the same thing with him. So we love that about each other. We're trying to work in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this appreciation that we talk about, Allah says in the Quran, and this is something that we want to go through real quick. Allah reminds us about the need to develop perpetual gratification. In Ramadan, Allah tells us what? لِتُكَبِّرُوا اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا هَدَاكُمْ وَلَعَلَكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. He says, and it's so that you may magnify Allah on behalf of the fact that He guided you. You're praising Him. You're calling on Him based on the fact that He guided you. That's part of the reason why you're doing that, because you know it was the guidance coming from Him. But then He says, when you do it by some chance, لَعَلَكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, that maybe you become appreciative. Why does Allah say لَعَلَكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ and uses this as one of the concepts in Ramadan? One of the goals of Ramadan is to develop appreciation. Taqwa, appreciation, guidance. Those are the three of the goals that Allah has ready made for us during the month of Ramadan. You go into Ramadan, at a bare minimum, you better be on those three things. Developing your taqwa, developing your appreciation, developing guidance. Read the Quran, fast from that which Allah says stay away from, and appreciate whatever you get. Appreciate whatever Allah gives you, who's around you, where you're going, the masjid, right? Your wife, your husband. Appreciate them. It's very important. It's a very important concept. But Allah says, la'alla, maybe, meaning that everybody's not going to do it. Allah knows we don't know, but He knows all things. So see, He says, la'alla, because He ain't no fool, right? You can't put that no more on Allah. So Allah is telling us that everybody's not going to make it. Everybody's not going to be appreciative. He didn't say whether they were going to be Muslim or non-Muslim. He said, perhaps, maybe you will be appreciative. Maybe you will be grateful. Maybe you will be in a position to where you will appreciate what Allah has done for you. Ain't this a beautiful deen? So looking at those three goals. Now, gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is without saying, right? You worship only lifeless God idols instead of God, and thus you have vision to shape a lie. Behold, those things and beings that you worship instead of Allah have not in their power to provide sustenance for you. Seek then all your sustenance from Allah and worship Him alone and be grateful unto Him. For unto Him you shall all be brought back. This is what Allah is telling us. There are over 75 ayahs in the Quran that talks about appreciation. The word shukr is mentioned 75 times in its derivatives, but then there's an indirect references to appreciation. Allah gives a hint as to why He said, have I not given you such and such? Did I not prevent such and such? And He's telling us that indirectly so that you can become appreciative for what He did. Did I not find you astray and give you guidance? All of these are references as to why you should be appreciative every day. So I can't get one day just for appreciation. I mean, the turkey was good. I didn't even have turkey yesterday. I had a little lamb yesterday. I didn't even have no turkey and stuff like that. And I didn't even get nothing until like 10 o'clock at night. But I had a little lamb, right? And it was good and everything. But I was just appreciative to be in a position to have a little lamb, if you understand what I'm saying. I was appreciative. But now that appreciation carried over today. Because when I got out, I didn't have to eat nothing this morning on my way here. So I was no light. I can't say that about now. Stomach might be growling a little bit. But we're all human, but we are appreciative. We appreciate that. So the Muslim, he's always focused on ways in which he can increase on what Allah has given him. Remember we opened the verse? If we'll show appreciation to Allah, He will increase you. He will increase you. He will increase you. Be mindful of that. Allah increased you because you're showing gratitude. But what better way can you show gratitude than by doing a deed with what He has given you? He said, Allah tells us about gratitude with parents. We have enjoined on man kindness to his parents. In pain did his mother bear him, in pain did she give him birth. The carrying of the child to his weaning is a period of 30 months. At length, when he reaches the age of full strength and attains 40 years, he says, O my Lord, grant me that I may be grateful for thy favor upon me. And which you have bestowed, grateful for your favor which you have bestowed upon me and upon both my parents. And that I may work righteousness such as thou mayest approve, be gracious to me in my issue. Truly have I turned to thee, and truly I bow to thee in Islam. Gratitude for our sustenance. There was for the Sahaba at the time a sign in their homeland, 2 gardens to the right and to the left. Eat of the sustenance provided by your Lord and be grateful to Him, a territory fair and happy, and a Lord all forgiving. This is given by Allah to all people. A means He gives us, and He gives us a means to show appreciation to Him. But this is what He says. إِنَّا هَدَيْنَاهُ السَّبِيلَ إِمَّا شَكِيرًا وَإِمَّا كَفُورًا. That He showed you the way. But it makes no difference to Him whether you are appreciative or you're in denial. Makes no difference to Him. Meaning that He's not in need. Some of us get the false idea that Islam needs us, but we need Islam. We need Islam. Sometimes we think we don't need each other. We need each other. But we're in denial. So Allah is telling us, He's guiding us to think about this. Think about the way the world is today. Think about the condition of the Muslims around the world. Think about that. Think about what Allah is guiding us to, and we are either appreciative or we are in denial of what He's guiding us to. He's telling us over and over again what we need to do. Be appreciative with what I gave you. Be appreciative for the mosque. Be appreciative to your leadership. Be appreciative and start building off of that. There's no way that you can be more appreciative than by showing it, by building off of what Allah gave you. You got to build off of that. Allah says, وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنْشَأَ لَكُمْ سَمْعًا وَأَمْسَ وَأَفِدًا قَلِيلًا مَا تَشْكُرُونَ. He's giving you hearing, sight, and hearts, but little thinks is it that you give. Your appreciation can never be realized unless you can show it by way of action. Allah gave you, but you don't want to give. Allah turned something away from you, but you don't want to turn nothing away when you mad at somebody. He forgives you, you want his forgiveness, but you don't want to give no forgiveness. So Allah is pulling all of this back on us, giving us an idea about where we can actually be as a community, provided we show appreciation. So we can't build nothing if we don't appreciate what we have. We began to talk today about showing how much we appreciate our seasoned members. That's how we began to talk today, about how we appreciate our seasoned members. And even those who may not be from it, we appreciate you too, because you had a time in which you practiced Islam somewhere and you had to be an example of Islam for someone. So we appreciate you too. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us basically that we have to do more. We're behind. We got to do more to catch up. As a community, as a social unit, community life, so important. Doesn't matter where you came from, brother. It makes no difference that you're from Yemen. Make no difference that you're from the Sudan, akhi. Makes no difference that you're from D.C. It makes no difference. Allah is not calling you like that. On the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, they're not going to say Muhammad from Egypt, stand up and get your record. All of you are in the position, right, just like me. We have to show appreciation for not only Allah, not only His book, but not only His messenger. But we got to show appreciation for each other. Look at the appreciation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Look at his appreciation, right? They described the Prophet ﷺ as one standing for the salah at night, tahajjud. And they said that he would be standing in the salah until his feet cracked. And that his feet would be in pain and he would still be standing in the prayer. We should learn something from that. Because after he was asked the question, we've been given Jannah, why are you still praying at night? Why do you do this to yourself? Why do you go through this after you have already been promised Jannah? The Prophet ﷺ said, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ أَبْدَانِ الشُّكَرَةِ. Should I not be a grateful servant? Should I not be an appreciative servant? Should I not show some gratitude for what Allah has given me? Dear brothers and sisters, some of us may have many resources. Allah may have blessed you with a good job. May I bless you with a good family, good husband, good wife. But are we showing appreciation for that? Are we showing appreciation? When we look at this idea concerning the appreciation, what can be shown as a result of us being appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Where are the Muslim schools? Where are the Muslim hospitals? You say you appreciate Allah, then why are we making these things happen? Why are the Muslims being more visible? Why are they not seeing the Muslims everywhere? Muslims are everywhere. Why we're not controlling our own stuff? Why we got somebody else making our kufis and making our khimars and things like that? Somebody else. I went to a place yesterday and the guy was very rude and they said they had halal, they were serving halal food. So I said, you guys Muslims? He said, no. I'm Christian. Nothing against Christians, but the idea is that here I'm going to try to get some halal, and the guy is really rude, and I'm asking him, is he Muslim, to see if he had some level of discipline. I couldn't even call him to account because he said he was not Muslim. So why is it that Muslims are not even handling our own stuff? We're giving our own stuff away. We're so appreciative to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we allow someone else to do what we need to be doing. Did not Allah say, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu alaykum anfusakum? Oh, you believe who have true faith, it is your job to take care of yourselves. Why are we doing that if we appreciate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much? We appreciate this deen. The deen is telling us that we have to take care of ourselves. And this is what I mean by talking to those seasoned members, because they were here in a time where we took care of ourselves. There was a time here in the United States that you wasn't assaulting a Muslim nowhere. You would think twice. In fact, you would cross the street and apologize for those thoughts. When they said the Muslims were coming, it wasn't no one or two of them. And Muslims were not troublemakers, but they didn't allow you to run over them. And they were applying what the religion said, compassionate amongst themselves, but strong on no rejectors. What happened to that if we're so appreciative? This message is too pristine for us to be giving it away just like that. We're allowing ourselves to make exceptions when we don't have it like that, because the reward is too high. The reward is just too high. The stakes are too high. Think about it. During the last day, can we say we appreciate the Quran? But do you know in one of the hadith in al-Mal by al-Hajj, Ibn al-Hajj al-Bari, may Allah be pleased with him, he said that the Prophet ﷺ said, men will produce copies of the Holy Quran in letters of gold, but they will not act upon it. And two months ago, my phone, I had a phone where, they give you, those new phones, those smartphones, they give you all these alerts, right? So they got a story about a golden Quran. And they showed the pages, all of the pages were 14 karat gold, and the inscription of the Quran was there, and it was about this big, right? Heavy, right? And they're marveling at it. They're taking pictures with it. They're marveling at it. They're saying, oh, this is so amazing. But I'm seeing something else. I'm seeing a sign of the last day. I'm seeing what the Prophet ﷺ was reported to have said. Men will produce copies of the Holy Quran in letters of gold, but they will not act upon it. And here they come with a whole Quran, 14 karat gold. And it was just such an amazing thing. But this is one of Allah's signs to us. Here the Prophet prophesied something in 2017, producing copies of the Holy Quran in letters of gold. And when something happens, they ain't thinking nothing about the Quran. But the Quran, what do you mean what the Quran said? No, my cousin told me to do. The brother down at the convenience store told me, all I got to do is do it that way. I don't need no Quran. What do you mean you don't need no Quran? So we got to return back to, like Imam Malik said, to the methods that were used by those who came before us. The last piece in gratitude, because there's so many things. We would be here all day. I don't want to do you an injustice. But I know some intelligent people when I see them, or sometimes. Y'all didn't get that, huh? Alhamdulillah. But I think you are intelligent enough to get the point about this level of appreciation that we're supposed to have. You're supposed to be on a 10 in terms of appreciation. You're supposed to be on 10, right? Like when they say attitude, gratitude in your attitude, our Christian brothers and sisters, they say that. But the Muslims believe that. We shouldn't be running around frowning all day. And sometimes they come to me, man, what's wrong, brother? That's just me, man. I look serious all the time, man. Sometimes I'll be somewhere else, man. And they're looking at me like, what's going on with the brother, man? Right? But the reality is that we're living in a time where smiling is really hard to do. The Prophet prophesied that there will be a time where people will smile and they will weep much. We're living in that time because here it is, we're obligated to appreciate the Quran, obligated to appreciate Allah, obligated to appreciate the example of Muhammad ﷺ, but we're also obligated to appreciate one another. Why don't we appreciate each other, man? We'll come back to that for a second. Think about it before we get back to that. But the question to all of you is this: why are we doing this? Why do we have to show all this appreciation? Why is it that we got to be so grateful? We've been through so much. Why should we as Muslims have to be grateful? Why are we doing this? Isn't it true that you're not trying to stay here? You're trying to go somewhere else? Where are we trying to go? You're trying to go to Jannah, right? No, let me see some head shaking. You're trying to go to Jannah, right? You know you're not going to be here. This is why you have to be grateful. So Allah can do what? Redeem you on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. With the name of Allah, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. You got the coupon, you get ready to redeem it. You coming in, man, you load it up. Because you better be loaded up. But it says saying that we should appreciate each other. We don't really appreciate. Do you know how important my relationship is with you? We get into the masjid, we come in here, man, and we see people all the time. Brothers we've been seeing for years, and then one of them get missing, we don't even ask for them. We don't even check or call him. Hey man, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum. You down there? You all right there, brother? You all right there, sister? Right? We done got so far away from appreciating each other, we think that because you're not from Somalia, there's no need to call you. You're not from New York, there's no need to call you. You don't speak my language, so there's no need to be concerned about you. No need to make dua for you. But there's a hadith of the Prophet Islam said, on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah, the believers will intercede on behalf of other believers. They will go into paradise, and they will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after not seeing the person they used to be with. And they will say, oh Rob, so-and-so used to be with us on the earth, praying and fasting with us, reminding us of you. Where is he? And Allah will tell those believers at that time in paradise to go to the hellfire and pull out all of those people who have an atom's weight of Iman in their hearts. So now if you want, so how many of us know where we're going? You should have some certainty about where you're going. But if you don't care about your brother, what makes you think on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah somebody's going to be asking for you? What makes you think somebody's going to be asking for you if you're not even asking for each other here? Do you think you'll get that privilege, dear brothers and sisters? We have to start doing it here, showing appreciation for each other. If the Muslims would show appreciation for each other around the world, do you know what our condition would be? Do you know what our condition would be if we just showed that we appreciated each other? Oh, man. And it's firing me up to just think about when that time comes, because I'm not doubting that time will ever come. I'm not doubting it. I still have hope because of what we can become. It's important that we think that way and rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do everything that we can do. Allah says, وَتَعْصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold fast, all of you, together by the rope of Allah, and do not allow anything under no circumstances divide you. May Allah help us. Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم الحمد لله رب العالمين. In another statement, because we got to consider how we look at each other. There was a doctor, professor, he said, his name was Wayne Dyer, and he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Change the way you look at each other, man. Start looking at each other as a resource that Allah put here for you. Maybe it's not meant for anybody else to love us but us. You ever thought about that? We're always trying to figure out why they don't like us. We're running over there trying to figure out, well, why you don't like us, man? Come on, give us a break, man. We done been through enough, right? But maybe it's not meant for them to like us. Maybe it's meant for us to love each other because we have such a hard time being together. But we'll hang out with them all the time. Don't want to sit with each other, recite no Quran with each other, ask how your family doing, how you doing, man, how you brother, how you been, man, how your mama now. Come on, man. We don't spend no time with each other like that. We don't have a social activity centered around Muslims. Why is it we got to bring somebody else in and we ain't got our stuff together yet? Why are we inviting them in and they're viewing us and saying, man, they ain't even together up there? If we considered each other differently, there would be no ISIS or Boko Haram. Because they would not be allowed to come in and trick people into believing that what they got is something that's real. But while we're all this solo on the island by ourselves, we are vulnerable for all of those type of things to come in. May Allah protect us from that. Ameen. Now, in closing, because there was so much more to talk about, but you know, Allah, he wants us to say some things, and that's it. You can't deny that. You can't wrestle with that. You just got to just go with it. So, the last point of gratitude for us here in America as American Muslims is why we are so grateful for the leadership of Imam Dr. Wafiddin Muhammad. Y'all heard of him before, right? I'm sure you have. But Imam Dr. Wafiddin Muhammad, we are grateful for him because of what he did in terms of his courage and his sacrifice. His unrelenting attempts to guide us to true Islam. So much to the point that he spent 33 years out of his life away from his family, teaching us. We were in his classroom. And he taught us about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We appreciate him because he taught us about the real Muhammad. He taught us about how to reform our lives by virtue of using the Quran. He not only taught us how to reform our lives, but how to call other people to reform their lives. Imam Muhammad was such a beautiful gentleman that we had to really think about the idea behind why Allah chose him for us. Allah made a good choice. Who am I to deny Allah's choice? Because nobody came to us. When we were treated a certain way, nobody came. But Allah found him on Yemen Street. And in 75, he brought him to us. And leading up to that point, he was training to become an imam, to lead the community, saying that he was born for the mission. There's no fairy tale. This really happened. This has actually happened. But from the process of that, he went he took us all the way to Mecca, from Washington, D.C. to Mecca, and nobody knew any Arabic. Standing on Arafat, with the belief that we belong there. So when they ask us about why we're so appreciative about Imam W.D. Muhammad, it's because he gave us mainstream Islam. He took the yokes off of us. He allowed us to become thinkers. And he told us to take pride in your study. Take pride in knowing this thing so that you can go anywhere. See, he gave us that freedom. He didn't hold on to us and say, well, listen, when you go here, just tell them you got it from me. He didn't say that to us. He didn't teach like that. This is why we love the Imam that way. We don't worship him. He's the one that guided us to Imam. He guided us to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We would have never known Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had we, and all of us are descendants from the house of the Shona, the Fulani. We are descendants from them who had Islam when they came here in chains. So we were given something else. We were given the foul meat, and we were given all of those things, and told we were nothing, and 75 had to come. So we heard the Mujahid recite Al-Fatiha, our hearts melted. Y'all know what I'm talking about. When he recited Al-Fatiha, that our hearts melted, and we gravitated to what he was talking about. And so now you have generations of people that came after him, sons, grandsons, great-grandsons. I remember running into one of the pioneers' sons, and I hadn't seen him in years. He said, do you remember me? And I said, no, what? He had on a police uniform. And I said, no, did I do something? Did I get away with something, man? Right? And he said, no, you know my father. And I said, yes. And I looked on his name tag, and his name tag said, Wafiddin Muhammad. This is the impact of this humble man. He didn't tell his father the name of Wafiddin Muhammad, but his father appreciated him so much because he knew where we came from, to remind him of Imam Dr. Wafiddin Muhammad. Now, many people might say you're giving him too much credit. I don't think we're giving him enough. But I don't want to bother with that. Talk to some of these senior members. They'll give you some history. Spend some time with them. Some of our foreign brothers. Spend some time with them. You're welcome here. This is your home. Come here and talk to some of these senior members. They love to talk. They love to talk, man. You get to talk. Man, you got some time? You see? But talk to them and they'll tell you the story. So now, in closing, the Prophet ﷺ was with a group of companions of the Prophet. And this group of companions was headed by one of the main companions, Ibn al-Jarrah. And Abu Ubaidah Ibn al-Jarrah. And they were talking amongst themselves. This was just casual conversation they were having. They were journeying somewhere. They were having casual conversation. They appreciated each other. See, they appreciated each other, so they had dialogue. Some of us, we don't appreciate each other, so when we go somewhere, we ain't even talking to each other. Assalamu alaikum. We ain't even giving up conversation with each other. We done got so far away from the tradition of the Prophet, how they enjoyed each other. We should bring joy to each other when we see each other. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah, good to see you. Alhamdulillah, good to see you. I look forward to seeing you soon. We should be assalamu alaikum. Well, I can't talk to you right now, brother. Right? And you ain't even doing nothing, man. So we have to get better with this. Allah is warning us by what's going on around us. But they would have casual talk. They would find pleasure in being with each other. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Oh, this is such a wonderful story. Because it clarifies some stuff for me. But so anyway, one of them asked the Prophet, "O Messenger of Allah, is there anyone better than us, O Messenger of Allah? We submitted with you. We did jihad with you. We've been on journeys with you. Is there anyone better than us?" And you know how human nature is, right? We ask the question, but we got the answer in the back of our head already. We think we're going to get the answer, right, that we're looking for. Because we want to be stoked a little bit. They wanted to really be told that they wanted the answer that they had come up with. So he says, "Man khayra minna," who is better than us? Is there anyone better than us, O Messenger of Allah? And then they gave their proofs, right? You know the hadith that says that the burden of proof is those who lay the claim. So the best of you is he who gives his proof before being asked for it. So he tried to give his proof right there, right? We strove with you. We did jihad with you. We sacrificed with you. We had nothing with you. We were with you. Right? Is there anyone better than us? And this casual dialogue that they had, it shifted because based on the Prophet's response. He says, "Na'am." So when he said that, it was no longer a casual dialogue. In fact, it was a class, but it was a class for all time to come. Because his response was, قَوْمٌ مِّن بَعْدِكُمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِي وَلَا يَرَوْنِي. That there will be a people who will come after you, companions, who will believe in me, but who have never, ever, ever laid eyes on me. Who was he talking about? Was he talking about the Yemen brothers? Was he talking about the Saudis? Was he talking about our brothers from Somalia? Who was he talking about? The Shafis? Who was he talking about? The Salafi? Who was Muhammad ﷺ prophesizing here? Who was he talking about? قَوْمٌ مِّن بَعْدِكُمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِي وَلَا يَرَوْنِي. Was he talking about the African Americans? Who was he talking about? How many of you here fast Ramadan? Raise your hand. I know you don't want nobody to know because I know. Right? How many of you met Muhammad? I'm going to close my eyes first. How many of you met Muhammad? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Who met Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Who met him? I want to know. Did you talk to him? Did you go somewhere with him? Did he teach you anything? But yet you believed in him and you never laid eyes on him. You fast Ramadan and you eat 3 dates. Right? You get a for tahajjud, right? You fast Monday and Thursday. Right? Why? Because Muhammad did it. You don't lie, you don't cheat, because Muhammad did it. Who was he talking about? You send your kid to Islamic school because Muhammad ﷺ trained you to do that. You never met him though. Never been to Medina and saw him there. You never met Ummah and his companions, but you lived your life the way you thought they lived theirs. So don't never lose hope in the idea behind the generation in which you live. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a special place for you. But you got to follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's easy arithmetic. You do what Allah says, and He will give you what He said He's going to give you. قَوْمٌ مِّن بَعْدِكُمْ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِي وَلَا يَرَوْنِي. May Allah help us. Ameen. In closing, Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ هَذَا كَانَ لَكُمْ جَزَاءً وَسَعْيُكُمْ مَشْكُورًا. Indeed, this is for you a reward, and an effort has been appreciated. Meaning Allah even shows appreciation for your efforts. Surah 76, verse 22. Dear brothers and sisters, we're talking about being grateful. And I just want to share with you for 1 second before we make our dua and close out, that we have an event, major event for our association, for the Muslims. It's good for all of the Muslims, called A Time to Be Grateful. A time to, I don't know if you ever heard of that, but say it slow with me. A time to be grateful. Of course, under your tongue, right? A time to be grateful. And A Time to Be Grateful is a very important event because it's being held and hosted here in Washington, D.C. this year. And we have an ad journal we'd like for you to participate in by taking out an ad to show your support. Many of us go out and we go traveling somewhere and we pull out a new wardrobe and we set something aside for that travel. We talked earlier about how we should set something aside for Jannah. That when we're going on a trip, we believe we're going to Jannah, so we want to set something aside for it. What are we setting aside for Jannah? Set something aside for Jannah by doing the best you can to aid the Muslims, to aid the cause of the Muslims, to improve the masjid, to improve the landscape of the believers here, to change the neighborhood, to become a better neighborhood, to expand on what you have here, to have even more, so that you can be more comfortable in coming here. How many of you appreciate the masjid? Then if you appreciate the masjid for all of the years of service, how many of you appreciate your Imam? You should appreciate him and follow what he's saying. Help him when he remembers and remind him when he forgets. This is how you appreciate your Imam. So this event that we're having is about the Muslim Journal, a paper that this is their fundraiser. But the masjid is also here and trying to assist that effort. They're hosting A Time to Be Grateful. All of our business brothers here, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand, but I need you to make yourself available before you leave, inshallah, to take out an ad. Give me your card. Just one small card. We make an ad for you. The lowest ad is $25. The highest is $200. Do what you can. Do an ad or donate something to the masjid. Set something aside for Jannah. Be realistic about it. Be realistic about the idea behind you being those people who believe in Muhammad and you never laid eyes on him. Make yourself responsible for that. See, that's the indictment on us. That if we're better, then we gotta prove it. Don't tell me what you are, because what you're doing is speaking so loud I can't hear you. Be mindful, dear brothers. We ask your help. We ask Allah to impress upon your hearts the giving spirit. But we also want you to come out and participate in A Time to Be Grateful. We want you to experience what we're experiencing. And you'll see, this community has a whole lot. We have a whole lot, man. And in no time do we feel that we need to be isolated from somebody. You are our brothers. You are our sisters. So we have to start playing it just the way Allah says play it. So He can give us what He said He's going to give us. May Allah help us. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ يَا أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ يَا أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ يَا أَرْحَمُ الرَّاحِمِينَ اللهم نور أكل القبور من المسلمين قبورهم واغفر لأحيائهم ويسرهم أمورهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على دينك يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم صل على محمد والمرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
Do I put that?
أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة.
Little young brother picking that up, man.
لا إله إلا الله.
Let me put this over. I'm gonna put this over here, brother. You guys can move up a little bit. Just move up a foot. I don't need a lot of room up. I'm a short guy. So I can be all the way up in here, man, all the way to maybe right here. So y'all can step up a little bit. Just step up a little bit. Yes, sir. Which one? This one here? This one?
Yes, sir.
I gotta ask, I gotta ask. Make sure I get the right instruction, brother.
Same answer.
Get the right instruction, brother. I want to make sure you gave me the same answer. استووا اعتدلوا صفوفكم يرحمكم الله. You brothers looking good up there, man, in front row, man. That's how it's supposed to be, man. That's how it's supposed to be, man, in front row, man. You brothers already knew that, though. That's why you're here. Yeah. Okay. Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا السماء انفطرت وإذا كواكب انتثرت وإذا البحار فجرت وإذا القبور بعثرت علمت نفس ما قدمت وأخرت يا أيها الإنسان ما غرك بربك الكريم الذي خلقك فسواك فعدلك في أي صراط ما شاء ركبك كلا بل تكذبون بالدين وإن عليكم لحافظين كراما كاتبين يعلمون ما تفعلون إن أبرارا لفي النعيم وإن فجارا لفي جحيم يصلونها يوم الدين وما هم عنها بغائبين وما أدراك ما يوم الدين ثم ما أدراك ما يوم الدين يوم لا تملك نفس لنفس شيئا والأمر يومئذ لله. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Blessed Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. Before you leave, make sure you leave something in that charity box or go downstairs and get a Muslim journal too, inshallah. We only got a few announcements. We thank Imam Abdul Azeez out of New Jersey.
No, New York.
New York, New Jersey, East Coast, Charlotte, all around, for giving us that dynamic khutbah. I'm glad I met him first as a worker, or else I would have thought all he did was talk, but we saw he was up here laboring hard. And now you see the khutbah is not supposed to be something that we just sit and do nothing. He gave us some good insight that we need to take outside of this masjid and build the Muslim community. So with that said, the first announcement is, again, the time to be grateful. We need to take out them ads so we can make sure that the event is successful and that the Muslim Journal gets what it needs and also our community gets what it needs to make this a very successful event. And it's important that if you don't have your tickets to the event yet, the last day for it will be next Friday at midnight. So go online between today and Friday to the nationsmosque.org and get your tickets to the events, because after that, the only time you're going to be able to get them is at the event. Another announcement is the 4th Summit of Greater Washington. That's imams, rabbis, and lay leaders on Sunday, December the 3rd at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at the Islamic Center of Northern Virginia on 4420 Shirley Gate Road in Fairfax, Virginia. In a time of increasing Islamophobia and anti-Semitism and bigotry in all forms, safeguarding our communities, building unity, confronting hate, enhancing partnerships is paramount. Join us to learn from a panel of experts on hate crimes, how to safeguard our communities, and find the spiritual connection of the past and look to the future. So that's next Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Islamic Center of Northern Virginia. Let us all try to support that who can. The rest of the announcements are in the bulletin. You can find the bulletin downstairs if you don't have one. And may Allah bless us to be a loving, appreciative fellowship of brothers and sisters and a community striving for excellence. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.